Start now?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Good start.
All right, so on the screen you'll see I have two platforms just so you can see some of the student side. This blue window here I'll refer to as via Engage. Professor side, this is where the instructor will administer all of the courses. Via Connect, or via Response, this is the student side. So this is where a student would log in and complete all their assignments. Now, before I start, I know you guys are on Canvas or moving to Canvas. It's really good because as a cloud-based LMS, we're a cloud-based platform as well. So we actually are doing a direct integration into Canvas using the LTI framework. We're using LTI 1.1, which means that not only will we be able to sync up, so if the instructor wanted to use it, our platform will automatically figure out all the students and enroll those students in the course. Likewise, the instructor it's a single sign-on. They only have to sign on to Canvas and say, I want to use this. So likewise, the students would log into their Canvas, say, I want to use this, and then in the backside, the LTI makes a handshake with Canvas, and we get all that information. And of course, by the end of spring semester, the grade implementation will also be done. So no more exporting a grade file and trying to import that. That'll also seamlessly happen in the back end. I'll touch on it here so you guys can see what it sort of goes through for everybody else, but as a Canvas user, that'll actually be functionality that you guys won't have to do. So I'm going to log into my teacher here. Okay, so here we are on the main splash page. These are currently courses that I have active. So it's real easy to make a course. I'll go ahead and add one in here. All right, so let's say we have two sections of Auburn 101. I have a Monday, Wednesday section. Let's say I also have a Tuesday, Thursday section. So the nice thing is as you generate all of your questions and content in the system, since it's cloud-based, you can access those questions anywhere and assign them through all your sections. So you make a question or assessment one time, then you say, I want to use it in these three classes. You can just go ahead and shoot those off to those three classes, and you don't have to remake the questions again. We'll go ahead and start this, and we'll jump into the Tuesday and Thursday class.
Can we interrupt with questions?
Yes, of course. Yeah, please do. Like I said, if you have any questions, you want to know how something works, or I didn't cover something adequately, please just stop me and let me know, and I'll jump back into it.
So I have.
Please go ahead.
So what if you have a course that doesn't have a time assigned to it, such as distance learning courses are at Auburn actually don't specifically have times?
Okay, so they don't have meeting times for the course?
Times assigned in the catalog.
Okay, so I mean, as far as that's concerned, what I would do, and I'm sort of guessing because I'm not exactly sure is the format, but you know, the course I would assume finishes by a certain time, you know, does it sort of fall in the normal semester range and we don't care? Okay, so you can actually assign asynchronously, you can create assessments. So let's say once a week you want the first section done for the first week, you can assign that assessment out there. It pushes to the cloud. At any time during the time range that you say is open, the students will be able to go in there and answer those questions. As that time range completes, it'll sort of lock in the assessment, the grades are submitted, and then if you have multiple assessments already assigned, the new one will just open up at whatever time you specify.
But in the definition of the course, then you have to assign.
Oh, okay, the time zone. Okay, so the time zone for that is actually because, you know, we have some, you know, courses where, like you said, you know, we're making it here and the course is in Central Time, but there's people in the Eastern Time Zone taking it, people in the Western Time Zone taking it. That time is what our system uses to sort of like assign a start and end time. So if I say I start at, you know, 12 Central, I'm starting at, you know, 1 Eastern. So that's just sort of how we go with that one. Okay, so I'm in my course here. So you'll notice that we have a unique section code. I actually have the application on my phone. Now let me go ahead and show you how easy the roster is. Oh, hold on. I got to get the section code first. Okay, that is 35 ETTA. All right, so if we go to the roster right here, so this is a brand new class. It doesn't have any students in it. I'm going to go ahead and add the student to the course.
If anybody wants to add with their smart device, you certainly can add yourself to this class right now.
Yeah, we do have logins. If you want to download the app and play along, you can do that, or I'll just, go through the demo. But so I went ahead and added this student. If I refresh, I'll go ahead and I see now that this student is in the class, they're active. Like I said, this will be something that you guys wouldn't be using as far as Canvas is concerned, but I wanted to touch on it and show you. If you didn't want to use the Canvas handshake for some reason, you can actually just upload your roster from the course that you want to do. VIA will actually send an invite automatically to all the students with a hyperlink in it. That hyperlink will actually take them to this sign-up page, and it'll pre-populate their name, student ID, and email address and lock those fields in and the section code so that they can't edit them. They can't change their school email to some Google email or something like that. You'll see that they make a nickname. This is their unique identifier inside the course. So for FERPA compliance, we can't have student names show up inside the course because, other students can glean some information from that. So it's only a nickname known by the student. Students can change their nickname. Obviously, if something's inappropriate, the instructor says, please change your nickname. And they make a password, which we have absolutely zero access to, and they can reset their password as well. So let's back out here. So let me go in, and I'm going to sign in as a student here. So this is what the student platform looks like from a computer or a laptop. So here it is right here. This is my Doc Holiday student. So I can see that I do not have our Auburn class in here. So from in here, I will add this Auburn class. And again, the instructor will go ahead and provide this section code for the student. Again, you guys don't need to worry about that using Canvas. But here we are. So now I'm in my class. This is the student splash screen. I can see all my grades. Right now they're zeroed out. And I can see all of the options to respond here. The nice thing is let's say as an instructor, you don't want to use some of these features. Let's say you're only interested in polling and attendance. You can remove all the rest of these, the homework, tests, and blogs. That way the students don't have that, because if there's an extra field around, the students are going to come, they're going to ask you, hey, what's this for? I didn't get an assignment. And we're trying to keep the students coming to the teacher to an absolute minimum. So we actually have confirmation for all the student responses as well. But I'll go ahead and we'll start right now. So we'll begin with attendance. Some people don't like attendance. Some people need attendance. But I'll see right here we have 2 students enrolled in this class. These are the 2 active students that we added. If I start the attendance, it will generate a unique 6-digit code. Every time I make an attendance, this code will be different. And this code will only display in the instructor's window. So from their house, if they're sitting there trying to answer from home and game the system, they won't be able to unless they can run through all the permutations of 6 different numbers within whatever time frame you keep the attendance open at. But let me go ahead. I'm going to respond to this attendance on my phone here. It tells me that there's an open poll, 518. So I'll go ahead and save this, and it'll actually tell me that I was marked as present, give me a little green check mark. So this way I know that I actually got counted in the class. I see that the response gauge went ahead and goes up. So let me go ahead and I'll copy this and show you what it looks like for the students on the screen here. I'm going over to the student side. So here's the student side. They know that there is an attendance open. So here we are. Now let me go ahead and I'll paste this in here. I'll intentionally enter the wrong attendance code. It'll actually tell me that it's invalid. Please try again. If I put in the correct attendance code, it goes ahead and tells me my attendance has been marked. My grade goes up. All right, so now let's push out over to VIA Engage again. We'll end this attendance. Yes, please.
I'm in now.
Oh, you're in too? Okay. Okay, yes, question?
Talking about gaming the system, of course, I'm thinking about gaming the system right now. So is it quite possible that after buddies in class will text me the correct attendance code?
And that's why we do, and the way this was designed is to be a time delimited. When the students are coming to class, it's not the spend 5-10 minutes getting warmed up. It's you're in class, starts at 10 a.m. I'm going to close this attendance poll at 10:30. Or no, 10 minutes and 30 seconds after, or 10 a.m. and 30 seconds after. Sorry about that. So, you only leave it open for a short time period so that the students can't go ahead and start texting each other. It's up to them to have that accountability. And that is one of the, that is one of the things about the system. Of course, students can come in with a bag full of their friends' clickers as well. As many institutions and policies as you put up to try to prevent something, students are going to spend more time on trying to cheat than trying to study sometimes. And so, we always have that. So it's sort of the way that you run it. Now, for what we do is we actually monitor quick poll participation too to see if students participated in their quick polls. What we've seen is that the instructor, to try to catch the students early on, before they tell the students this, they'll actually go ahead and say, hey, the course policy is you have to be in class and watching the lecture to go ahead and respond, don't do this. And then what we noticed is that a teacher will go ahead and ask a fairly straightforward question. All the students in the class will hear from the instructor verbally, do not select the correct answer, select this wrong answer. All the students at home trying to game the system, of course, are going to select the correct answer. You can go through and look at all those students and confront them one-on-one, hey, you guys are trying to cheat the system intentionally, you're going to lose all your credit. So that's what we've seen happen. Obviously, the platform's flexible, so however you want to run, it's up to you. But that's sort of one way that we've noticed that instructors get around that. For me, it's just make it short. But anyways, so I'll go from attendance here. I'm in the instructor side, so I'll go to quick polls. Quick polls are sort of the meat and potatoes, how we do polling in class. If they're doing a live lecture or a live lecture synchronously, then while they're watching from whatever computer they're watching from at home, they can go ahead and respond to the class in real time wherever they are in the country. And then for asynchronous, you can actually leave the quick poll open for however long you want to. So let's say I start a quick poll in the middle of class, when I record it, and when I record the next lecture, I'll close the previous quick poll and open another one. So that's how we've done some polling asynchronously as well. Let me go ahead and start this up. So we have 3 types of questions. Simple question is your standard, here's your question, here's your answer choices. You can add, as many as you want. We're not bound by the number of buttons. And you'll notice right here, this little bubble. These bubbles are for images. So this will actually push the image content and the question to the student's smart device. So if I was, somewhere in, some other state, and I'm going ahead and watching the lecture and looking at this, I can actually see the pictures and the question that you asked me on my device or my computer. Okay, so I noticed this in the hall here. I'm just going to do 3. You can go ahead and you can assign multiple different correct answers. So let's say that if I want all 3 to be correct, I can just uncheck them. If you answer with any of these, if you just participated, that counts as a correct response. Otherwise, let's say this is Auburn specific. I want the students to say Weagle Water, and this is important, so I'm actually going to change the point value to 2 points. We can go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and store this question in the question bank. So now I've made this question one time. I don't want to ever have to make it again. So storing it in the question bank, we'll store it in my little personal file full of all of my questions. I can use multiple tags and tag that for later. So let's say I want to have an Auburn tag, so I can filter by all the questions for my Auburn class. I can also filter that group even more. So if I want week 1 questions, week 2 questions, week 3 questions, I can generate all my content before the semester begins. And then as we go through the semester, I can just pull up that chunk and assign it. So we'll go ahead. I'll publish this later just to show you how we get ready, because we don't want to be doing this in class. We want all this prepared ahead of time. So I'll go ahead and make my polls for the class. Then as I'm in the class, there we go. I can see that it sits right here under Ready Quick Polls. So now here's my Auburn Water question. There could be other questions right here ready for me to go, and I can ask them in order, or I can ask them in any order I want to. Say I forgot the question, you can go ahead and check it out real quick and get a preview. So I'll go ahead and run this poll. All right, so we can go ahead and see the question. If I go into my device here, there's a little section called Quick Polls on the device. So if I go to Quick Polls, it'll tell me that I have an active poll. And as I go to the active poll, it'll actually push out the questions. So right here, the water fountains in Auburn serve, ... And I have all my question selections on the phone. Obviously, it's hard to see from back there. So as I answer, it tells me that my response was saved. So I go ahead and I know that you got my response. I don't have to come and verify with you that my battery was working or not working. And I can see that the responses are starting to come into the system. And, you know, I can go ahead and wait, or I can go ahead and end it prematurely. But let me go over here to the student side now to show you what it looks like for a student on a laptop or PC. So I'll go over here to my quick poll, and I'll choose my active poll. It goes ahead and tells me what the question is. There we go. It tells me that I have not responded to the poll. So the nice thing is that as the student selects the answer is selected, our system saves that. So as soon as this actually changes, our system has captured the student's response. If they want to change it at any time while the quick poll is open, that's also an option. We don't really mind. It's just you can't answer after the poll is done. So I'm going to go back over to the instructor side here. I see that everybody in the class has responded, so I can go ahead and end our poll. And again, wherever they are, they can go ahead and respond. If I want to check my results tab, I can go ahead and see my results. So if you want to see sort of who was answering which question as an instructor, you can go ahead and do that. It'll only give you the nicknames because there's a potential for this being clicked in class, so we can't use the student names, of course.
So if that runs inside Canvas, you don't need the nicknames, because you're inside that course.
We use the nicknames anyways, just because of like this feature. While you'd be looking at this screen inside of Canvas, it'll sort of pop up inside of your Canvas login. So if you did click this even inside of Canvas, you don't want the student's name to show up on the screen. I don't want to know that these two students got the incorrect response. Yeah, and then also that helps with the students also if they're responding from their devices, because they'll have to log in from their device to respond on an iPhone or iPad or Android.
Can you make a poll with 2 questions?
I can make what's called, there's 2 ways to go about that. A quick poll for us is a quick poll, it's 1 question. We can have multiple ones like you saw. I can just have 2 in a row and then run 2 in a row.
So you cannot send the whole bunch in one shot. You can.
I can, but we don't call it our quick poll. I can do that in 2 ways. I can make we call it a quiz, or we call it an assessment. So that'll be multiple polls in a row inside class. If you want it to be outside of class, it's a homework. As far as our system's concerned, there is no difference between the in-class quizzes and the homework. It's just differentiation for when they're scheduled.
You have to schedule it during class, and then you can open it at that point during class.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it's 4 or 5 questions, you can actually start a class that way. Did they do last night's reading? And you can do 4 or 5 questions, and then you find out nobody read anything. And you can even run it again at the end of class.
Okay, so that's pretty much that's, like I said, real easy. I can check who responded. I can see who didn't respond. This will actually go into past polls now that it's ended. So let's say students didn't read anything, so I asked them the question and they completely bombed it. So I have to go and re-lecture that material to make sure the students retain that information. If I want to go ahead and rerun this again, I can rerun it real easy. Just reuse the poll. And there we go. I don't need to store it this time, but it has everything just going right along here. I can go ahead and publish it again right now in class and ask them. So that's just, another little feature. I won't do that for time's sake. Let's see here. All right, so after that, we do have the assessments. I'll run into this hold on. Yeah, okay, we have the assessments. Right now, I can see that there are no assessments active in this class. We have a little mini calendar here, so if you want to assign all the assessments at the beginning of your semester, you can see when one closes and one opens. It's sort of like a little Gantt chart for you. So let's go ahead and make an assessment. If I go to the Question and Assessment Manager, I can see all the assessments that I've ever run. So if I want to, generate, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, however many weeks at the beginning, when I hit next semester, if I'm teaching the exact same material, I can just go ahead and you hit this little paper clip here and it says attach class. I'll go ahead and attach this assessment. So let's say it starts, let's start it today. and we can end it tomorrow. And let's say I want to assign it to both of my Auburn courses. Sorry, this is my testing account. You can see I have 1,001 classes. And then let's say that my Tuesday and Thursday class, I want to have it offset by a day. So there we are. I went ahead and offset it by a day. When I hit save, this is now assigned to the section. So the students now have access on their phones. So if I go into my phone, I can respond to the homework. And it works just like a poll, except for there's multiple pages to it. Is there a dot cam? No, there's not a dot cam. All right. But regardless, it'll go ahead and push that out to all the students. The students can go ahead and flip through their homework. So that's actually a nice and easy feature for them. Let's go drop back into our course. All right. I realize now that I had assigned this one to start tomorrow because I forgot I was in my Tuesday, Thursday. So let me go ahead and I want to actually start that today. So you can go ahead and edit the times very easily. That was actually an unintentional mistake here.
It's not 12 o'clock.
Oh, it's not 12 o'clock either. Oh, this is 12 a.m. though, so
Oh, is it?
yeah. Changes are saved, so now I'm good. And let me reload my homework. All right, so now I see that my homework is in the class. I'll show you in Via Connect, so now I'm on the student side. If I was at home and doing my homework, I'd go ahead and pop into my homework tab. I see that I haven't answered any of my Auburn homework. So I'll go ahead and do this. We'll go ahead and begin. So your Maslow, self-actualization. All right, this is an example of all the pictures. So on the device itself, I can actually push all these images out to the students. They'll have them on their device, so they don't have to be looking at the screen in class. And I guess if I walk over here a little bit, just so everybody can see, we have all the different answer selections in here. And then if you click on,
Yeah, maybe you can see a little bit.
okay, there we are, iPad, yes.
If you can't see the image, all you have to do is tap on it. And it blows it up.
So is it just images or does it include video?
We don't do video right now. We do images. We also support PDF files. So if you have something that comes out of LaTeX or something like that with a big fancy math formula on it, that's definitely something that you can upload as well. I'll just go ahead and run through this real quick.
Because your software is integrated into the stuff that doesn't run over the top of another, like you can't run it over the top of Word or a PDF like that. It has to be integrated into yours.
Yeah, we take it and upload it. Because we're cloud-based, we need to have access to that content, and then we'll store that content for you in the cloud. So, you know, if you happen to move somewhere, or let's say you're going to miss class and you can't start it from in class, but you want to do a live lecture from home, you can go ahead and do that and actually push out questions and assessments as if you were in class live. Because we're cloud-based, we don't really care where anybody is. Let's see here. This is from Boulder. And then that is my shameless plug. All right, so now we're here. You'll see a note after completing the homework. You won't be able to change your answers. We'll hit finish. It is a double confirmation because students will blow through the entire thing without reading it once. So now maybe they'll read this one. So yes, I'm very sure I want to answer. Okay. So now I see that this is completed. Once the assignment deadline is ended, which is Friday now, when that comes around, it'll actually, if you've opened the poll and you haven't submitted it, but you answered a couple questions, it'll take those answers that you have, it'll lock them in and send them over to the system. Then you have the option as a teacher to publish or not publish your grades. So let's say I wanted to use this homework as a study guide. So after the homework is complete, I'll actually push the answers out to the students so they'll be able to see which answers they selected were right and which answers they selected were wrong. And we can also leave comments. So let's say that, and the comments engine isn't built, it'll actually be out Monday. But it'll allow you to push out a comment. Let's say everybody got one question wrong. So you can actually say, well, most of the people got this question wrong. This was the incorrect answer because ... And that'll push out to the students who, okay, well, I see that I got this wrong. And the teacher even provided me an explanation. So that's actually a nice feature that we have coming out Monday. So here, let's go back to the instructor side. All right, so we're in the instructor side. Yeah. Yeah.
So what if I wanted to do, this actually relates to, I guess, your quick polling feature, right? If you wanted to ask the question right now, okay? How is this seminar going? Okay? And rated 1 to 5, verbally delivered question.
We have, it's called ad hoc.
Okay? And I don't want any overhead really. I don't really care to store that in the bank.
Right.
I just want to capture the data.
Yep. So I'll call this impression just because there's naming. I want you to rate it 1 to 5.
Okay.
Poll's open. Students can go ahead and answer on their devices from 1 to 5. How did you like this? If you're in the middle of, let's say you're doing calculus and you're in the middle of an integral and you want to, okay, so is this the correct answer or can I simplify it further? You can go ahead and ask that. And it's just a little over-the-top ad hoc poll off the top of your head. You don't want to plan it. Just something inspirational came up in class. So we definitely support that as well because, that's definitely one of the things that clickers are nice for. So we have to have that ability as well.
So in terms of instructor overhead, you have to click on the ad hoc button.
Ad hoc button, name it, and number of options. And you do have the option to select a correct option as well. But usually for those ad hoc polls, a lot of them are impressions or something like that. You just want to get the student feedback. So you don't have to. And that's just, if you do, it's one more click.
See that the results will tell you what the results are.
All right. So we can go ahead and end the poll.
In the assessment that you were presenting, you close the assessment.
Yep.
You're supposed to be in the class and you want to show the response of the class immediately. You have that capability.
Yeah. So let's say I ran that ad hoc poll, and I don't want the question to display this. I just want it to display the results. So actually, I can just leave it on this tab before it's closed, and as the students log in, the histogram will populate with whatever their responses are, so the students can go ahead and see that. We don't have that set as the default tab because obviously if it was a question that had points or a correct answer tied to it, the students will start selecting the one that everybody else is selecting. So that's not the default tab. The default tab is the question. But yeah, so if we did a poll like this again in real time, let me just... So I can actually just leave it on this tab right here and see whatever. Is this what you were referring to?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Finish the quiz.
Okay.
You finish the quiz, they have time. Finish, close.
Right.
Close it. Now I want to show to the classroom how the class answered. This in-class quiz.
Okay, yeah, and so yeah, this would be the exact same thing then, yeah. So you'd wait and you'd get all the students to answer on this page. Polls closed. Okay, students, okay, now let's talk about the answers. Okay, I see that everybody, okay, all right, perfect. Yeah, so that's how we do that as well. So I'll pop out of here. The last kind of poll, I don't have my Dropbox up, but it's an image question. So the image question would be back to sort of like if you use LaTeX or anything, it actually means that it has the question and the answer choices inside of one image. So if you just had one image with the question and all the answer choices in it, let's say you have a PDF of an old SAT question or something like that, you can go ahead and just upload that, and then you'll see you can just name it, upload the image, and it has this many answers, and this one's correct. Raj?
How about a non-ABCD type question, non-multiple choice? So choices, yeah, calculation, string of numbers.
Okay, so yeah, we don't parse the string of numbers. So like, let's say I wanted to have simulate a data input stream or something like that. We don't have that. Come Monday, and Monday's actually a big push for our development team. We're going to have free text responses. So we'll do an exact match. So there'll be an exact matching. Let's say you want a numeric response, solve this and give me the number. We're working on, we just found an open source math thing to do actually, subscripts, superscripts, that kind of math input. But right now it's a direct string match. and then let's say that it's a word question, and a direct string match won't give you the right and wrong answers for, let's say they have punctuation. So they spell, Mr. Belvedere and they put a period in there. You can actually review that. There's a quick review feature. So if you want to look at that question, it'll have the student's name and what they responded. So, if they have any iteration of Mr. Belvedere, you can just say, check, that's right, that's right, that's right, that's right. You're wrong. That's right, that's right, that's right, that's wrong. So you can just go through the list right there and judge them yourself. Not right now. It'll be out Monday, and unfortunately, it comes out a couple days.
Can I answer 123.47?
Yes.
And it recognizes it as a number?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
no.
I want A17.
Good.
That's my response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the
I don't know what I want.
You know,
No, I mean, there's a number of, between our physics classes and some of our math classes that ask for free text. We call it free text response. We can respond with alphanumeric response capability.
And even whether, by being able to select the correct answer ahead of time is less important than the students being able to input. Like in his case, he wants an actual number back.
Mhm.
It could be the result of an experiment they did, drop this thing and count how long it takes to do it.
And-
Turn that number.
and then you'd be able to see the students and what their number is.
Distribution of data is-
Right.
Yep. Okay. So that's how that works. Did I get the questions answered adequately?
So how do you create a question like
We'll show you on Monday.
Yeah.
that?
Seriously, we have a major
All
release.
software companies, we'll show you on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
No, we really will. Not Monday afternoon. We'll make sure it works Monday morning. Yeah.
If I export data, like if I want to go out in the field with my students and we have a hotspot, have the ability to log in and get responses, taking samples at a site, and I get that data, put it into one spot, and then export it out for later.
Yeah, I'll have to actually confirm with you at some point exactly how the data will come out in the export, because the free text response, the export should actually have their free text and a point value, but I got to confirm with our people because I don't, I'm not a coder, so I don't necessarily know what's coming out exactly on Monday. But yeah, so let's say you were out in the field and you wanted 10, inputs coming in, like we're going to test for these 10 things. You could open up 10 of the free response questions. Then as the students go ahead and get their data, okay, well, the dig site's this big, type that in, this deep, type that in, and it'll go ahead and save all those answers for the students. And since it's in the cloud, the students can access their answers from anywhere, and you'll be able to see their information from anywhere.
And you can download the information of all of them in one single file.
That's
That can be read in a statistical package.
yeah, we can actually export in a CSV. So I couldn't, and honestly, that's actually pushing the limits of what I know of the system. So I could definitely get with our people and talk to them and make sure that I can, say yes or no definitively to you. Right now, I just don't have that exact answer for you. But anyway, so here's the image question. I don't have any image questions because I don't have my Dropbox. So we'll go there. Okay, so this one's fun. It's called Via Blog. You can sort of consider it a case study platform. So what you can go ahead and do, and I'll sort of describe it and then we'll go through it, is you can push out a case study, or let's say there's some TED lecture on YouTube that you want the students to review. You can go ahead and push out that link or push out a case study on Zipcar or whatever, and actually push that out. The students will go ahead and read that in the platform. Now, this is not on the devices because this was made for much longer text input than just typing with your thumbs. But so I could type out the, this is the case study. And I'll save that. So this is what the students would read. And then I'll actually push out a discussion on top of that. So I'll ask a discussion question or multiple questions, and I can actually provide a rubric along with that discussion question. So the student sees the rubric in the case study, and then they'll actually respond back. And we'll aggregate the responses in line. So instead of filtering through a whole bunch of papers, you can read it, grade it, read it, grade it, read it, grade it, and they all just stay in line in the platform. Go ahead and make a discussion question.
Do you have customers who wanted this, if they have an LMS and that's supported?
No, I keep coming back to that LMS, and I can't see where this fits in. Everything you described so far, you can do it in the LMS, right? can ask questions, like that, we do homework on there. It's just as the interactivity.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, there's LMS is, sort of like right now, as far as I'm concerned, and everything's blurring, but there's in-class active, live response clickers. You got to be there in location. So, and then there's asynchronous. Let me ask a question, it'll stay open for this long, and those two platforms are definitely distinct now, and we're definitely trying to bring them together.
But everything can be done asynchronously. What you're doing, can be done in LMS. I can create a quiz and say, open for the next 30 minutes.
Right. And
They can do it there.
right. I mean, they could, if their, phone let them log into Canvas through everything and do all that. We just sort of streamline everything. We have the applications custom built native for all Android and all Apple devices. We also have HTML5 apps, web apps for Windows 8 phones, Blackberries. So it sort of aggregates everything in a much more streamlined and easy to use, especially for the students modality. Obviously, if you're going through Second Life and your clickers and your LMS and, maybe Pearson has a homework platform that you want to use too, students are going through 4 logins, especially with this and Canvas integration for you guys, single sign-in. If they can check their grades in Canvas, they can use us to respond. And that's a big thing, is just a lot of the administration.
If you have a set of questions in your synchronous time, that can be a deck of questions, it can be assigned. Same deck very easily from your stack as homework will be listening as you're going through, listening to the lecture asynchronously. You can actually listen to answer the same questions. It's assigned as a homework, that's our language. But you answer those questions, they'll be just identical from the same deck. All right, so they've actually covered the homework in the specified period of time. They've reviewed the lecture as well as the homework, as well as the questions that are included in the lecture.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it too is getting buy-in from students. As we get bigger and bigger classes and distance starts coming in, it's a question of engagement. Obviously, we named the platform Via Engage to really sort of start bringing students back into it, using devices they like and modalities that they're familiar and accustomed with. And so that's really one of the big things, is student side buy-in to the platform. And so far from all the feedback and surveys we've done, they really like being able to use their own device.
So if it was an asynchronous situation, I would have the lecture recorded in another platform. You guys don't do that, right?
No, we don't do that.
Another platform, so they have that platform that you watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Then they have the Engage platform next to it.
They could do that, or they can actually be watching it on their screen and then just answering from their phone. So, they all have multiple screens anyways. It's just how do we get it to them in the right sort of way that they like it. You had a question?
Quick question, because I have to run away.
Mm-hmm.
How does the licensing work? Does the university buy a license for student? How does that work?
We're flexible on that regard. So we do definitely have student-side pricing, exactly in competition with sort of the pricing tiers that clickers have. 20 a semester, 30 for a year, 40 for 4 years for the undergrad curriculum. And then we also do have department or institution pricing, where what we would do is we give you a license, and we don't have any set number of activations. We give you a license, let you invite all your students, wait until ad drop, in a couple weeks shake out whoever's not going to participate in the course. And then when we have those final participation numbers, we go back to you and say, all right, this many students activated and are using the platform, and then we bill that way. And it would be directly between us and the institution, and then there are volume breaks. And I'm not the pricing guy.
The nice thing about this, in certain schools where in a business school where you have a marketing class and a management class, you pay once and you get access to both classes. All right, there is no, I need to do something else for this class or that class. So, we have a number of business schools that they have a contract price, and it's all about how many students end up getting online. And they may have maybe online 3 or 4 classes, and they pay one fee. The school is paid one fee, and even if it's a student, the student is only paid one fee.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for coming. All right. I'm going to go ahead and publish this, but just to show you guys real quick what it looks like. I see here's my blog. I can go ahead and read the blog. Okay, so I read my case study, or I went to my site and watched the video lecture. Let me go ahead and respond to it. They can't respond to the phone because we're built for, this is made for much larger. Obviously, as the free text comes in, if you want, single sentence responses, that's the engine you'd use for that. Response has been saved. And so if I just go to the response window, I can go ahead and actually see, all right, this student went ahead and had theirs. So out of 5 points, that was pretty bad, so I only gave them 1. And then if there were any other students, they just show up beneath this in a row. And you can just read their response and grade it right there in the system.
You're saying with the Canvas integration, those grades will go over to Canvas?
Those grades will go right into Canvas, show up in a column. And I had this discussion with Kathy this morning as to exactly how that works. And I figured out that I need to talk to my CTO and figure out exactly how it works, whether it generates multiple columns in the Canvas grade field, one for homework, one for quick polls or anything, or if it'll actually aggregate all of them. And those are sort of the points that I have to iron out for my own good too. Okay, so this is all good and done. And that's essentially the whole platform. We went through all the different assessment types and how the students can get in. Let's see here.
One thing is we do have insert into PowerPoint, if that's the tool you like to use, where you can download the app. If you go to some section settings,
The product support.
yeah, product support, you can download this little tab onto your PowerPoint and continue to use PowerPoint. We have our own presentation format that you can use as well. He hasn't gotten into that right now, but
That probably only works in PowerPoint.
Right now, it works only in PowerPoint for Windows 7, 10, and then, Windows XP forward. We're working on 13 and Windows 8 right now. I'll show you real quick. This is the presentation mode Mike was referring to. So obviously, via Engage, that robust engine that we were using for the entire time, is really where all the content's created, where you drive the course itself. When you're in class, we think everything should be simplified, easy to look at, easy to use. And so we have this presentation layer. And the only thing that you can do from here is run any quick polls that you had already run. So I see my 2 ad hoc polls that I did if I wanted to review those. Or here's the water right here. So I can go ahead and view this. This will let me do this in line. So right now all the answers are grayed out. So let's say I want to make a game out of it. Okay, what's the right answer? There we go. So this is my primary color, so that denotes this is the right answer.
So you imagine the fact that I was teaching in class, using PowerPoint, and then stop at the PowerPoint, and then go into this.
Now, we definitely don't want that. We have a...
PowerPoint will generate that
so-
kind of information. If you have a deck of 50 cells in PowerPoint, and you have one that's a question, cell 10, there will be a cell 11 generated with that graph. All right.
And it'll all stay... Yeah.
So that's if you're using a PowerPoint.
Yeah, if you're using PowerPoint, and it all stays within PowerPoint. Once you start the presentation, you can start the polls from within the presentation, end the polls, and display the results, and you never leave that presentation. If you don't want to do the screen flipping back and forth. Yep.
Yeah. No, you don't.
Are there any plans to come anything from that?
We're working on it. We're running into the same problem. I'll dip into the nerd in me. This is the same thing that Turning's running into. The way that the services on the backside of PowerPoint work, because they integrate with Microsoft Windows services, which are actually what come and contact our servers, and we talk through those. Mac obviously doesn't have those at all. So the overlay for PowerPoint doesn't work for either. Keynote, there's an interesting way to get around it, but you actually lose all the ability to have notes for your slides. It'll actually rewrite code in the notes. And that's a very messy way to do it, and so we haven't done that either. So right now, yeah, it's Windows. Fortunately, 98% of all the universities have Windows on their computers and stuff like that, and you can run all of this, through a Mac. This side of the platform has no problem.
All right.
The cloud stuff is
It's just-
It's all web-based, it's all cloud, so Mac or PC, it doesn't. Yeah, it'll run everything.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you could actually run this. I can run it on my BlackBerry. I have a little BlackBerry that's 4 years old, and I could bring it as anything with the. We've kind of used our time.
Yep.
We're certainly willing to talk more if you want to. I know some other people have to leave. We respect that and respect your time. How's was nice enough to invite us, and
My app, I just downloaded the app.
Mhm.
It's just giving me the blue screen of death. Anyway, you guys had your own.
Did you try? Have you tried rebooting the iPad? Which iPad is that?
Oh my God.
Which iPad? Is that the new iPad or is that?
No, it's iPad 2.
Okay, iPad 2. All right.
It just did not. It just came up and it's like.
It's not.
Delete it and try again. But that's not a good sign.
I mean, it should have. I mean,
For the free text response, yeah.
Maybe I'll try that Monday.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really designed to be portrait. I don't know if that makes a difference.
No, I mean, it flipped itself. That was the nice part. It actually flipped around.
Well, let me.
And it's just like.
It knows that we're. Yeah.
Don't make me happy.
If I'm running this in a class, in a face-to-face meeting, and all my students don't have smart devices, what do I do?
Okay, so if they don't have, all right, little anecdote. Out of the 10,000 students we onboarded this semester, 7 didn't have devices.
But there's always going to be somebody.
Yep, and there's always somebody. So we actually offer. Now we're in the hardware business. This is not our business model, and we really don't care about it from a profit standpoint. But we actually have a couple. We have, well, not a couple, but we have a store of devices that we have, and we're selling them back to the student at cost. So that's about $42. They get an unlocked Android device, and they can go ahead and just keep that. You know, for the price of the clicker, they can have if they want to activate it later. That's up to them.
It's like an iPhone touch, but it's an Android.
Yeah, it's like an old Android.
You're operating your software on that.
Yeah. So just right from the App Store, and we download the Via Response app, and it's a fully functional Android system. If they want to take pictures or send email or whatever, they have that functionality built in. We're not selling them 6 buttons for $40. We'll send them a phone for $40, and then
But I do look at,
Essentially, their own.
Yeah.
that's right. So I gotta look, when I'm walking around, I try to notice what people are using.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of flip phones, I still see a lot of flip phones.
Yep.
That they text like crazy on.
Yep. So if they don't have that or a tablet or a laptop, then we have a solution for that. Like I said, we're not in the hardware business, and we don't pull a profit. We actually usually take a small loss on all those devices, but it's usually such a small number of students that even taking that loss, if that gets us the class, that's advantageous to us.
And they can contact you directly on their website, on your website to buy.
Yeah, there's actually.
Faculty members out of this.
Yeah, the faculty. Yeah. Of course, the faculty member is completely out of this.
Yeah, I don't like to use those.
Yeah, exactly. So as a student, they come in here. So right here, let me. So right here, basic subscription with Android. So they go ahead and do this. It has. That's a $40 Android, a $20 subscription, and shipping and handling. And that's actually. It says 1 semester, but I think that's actually 1 year now.
1 year license. Android for keeping or you have to return it?
Oh, the device?
Yeah.
Oh, it's yours. We don't care. I mean, like I said, for the price of a clicker, I'll send you a smart device. And if you want to, you can go hunt on eBay or Amazon and find one for a heck of a lot cheaper.
That's a Wi-Fi access.
Yep, has Wi-Fi access, and you guys are lit up on campus.
With Wi-Fi bandwidth?
Okay, so it's not usually as far as you guys are concerned. It depends on how big the lecture halls are. So it's not the bandwidth that gets us. What gets us are access controls for the router. So let's say you have 200 students and you only have 1 access point. The students might all have full bandwidth, but as the access, but
I just meant in terms of connecting, you can only connect so many.
exactly, and so that's a small issue. Usually, I mean, and I noticed on your campus, you guys have a lot better Wi-Fi than some campuses we've been to.
We have good Wi-Fi, but I don't know if there's that many, access points.
So for the devices and everything, what we actually do, because as they round robin, it'll drop for a second while somebody else comes on and gets their information, then it'll give it back to you. There's a localized storage on the phone. So if you connected and you have the question on your phone and you answered it, but behind the scenes, unbeknownst to you, you moved, you dropped off the Wi-Fi for a second, And so it tries to send it to our server, and you notice how it says, we marked your response successfully or unsuccessfully. That's the server coming back to the device and saying that. So if it doesn't get that back, it'll hold the student's response, and the next time the internet connection comes up, it'll shoot it off. All right.
I have a little on my card and a little bit of collateral here if you'd like it, and certainly be happy to talk about as you for next term. If anybody wants to think about doing a pilot with us, we'd certainly be happy to get involved in it with you. Okay. Great.
Did you get did that end up you logged in there, Raj?
I find it.
Okay, yeah. Did it just magically start working? Or
I can re-download. I can re-download it.
okay.
Downloaded, I had it called in portrait mode instead of landscape.
That's interesting. I'll let the coders know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might be the portrait issue versus landscape.
Yeah, for the first load, maybe that's it. That's all right.
Well,
Well,
never gave me the login.
yeah, it didn't give you the login. I think, and obviously.
That's the
Well,
release,
yeah,
software.
Yeah, we're having a new software release. What I'll do is, Raj and I have talked about who is here, and we'll send out a few sandboxes to those that are interested. You could let us know if you'd like to see.
So Alan, did you sign this?
Yeah.
I'll get it. Send you one to plan.
Yeah.
Because he has some interesting uses.
Okay.
I need to be numbers, I need
He
to
wants to-
translate it into CSV format.
Well, yeah, we'll let you know. It drops
I
at.
move it to immediate analyze the mapping file.
Okay, we'll go ahead and do that for statistical input.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, guys.